None of them until, well, right now it's like July 14th or something. Yeah, we don't have to. I mean, I think we kind of agreed to follow the government. We'll see if it keeps going perpetually, then at some point, maybe we'll make an alternative decision. I don't know. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Binghamton City Council work session for Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. Please stand for the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Janine, can you take a roll call for us, please?
Councilman Scaringi,
Present.
Councilwoman Rezanetti,
Present.
Councilwoman Riley looks absent. Councilwoman Friedman,
Present.
Councilman Burns also looks absent. Councilman Scanlon is also absent, and President Strawn.
Present.
All right, that's 4 here and 3 absent: Riley, Burns, and Scanlon.
Okay, thank you. We'll get right into it. I see Chief Gardner on the screen. How you doing, Chief?
Good evening. Good. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. So we'll get right into it. Tell us about RL 22-169.
Okay. Yes, this is RL 22-169. Now, this is to amend the 2022 budget for use of ARPA funds to support fire station facility rehabilitations. Now, the rehabilitations work will include interior refurbishing and critical system improvements. Stations will receive investments like new roofs, HVAC replacements, renovated bathrooms, and bunk spaces. And the apparatus room upgrades. The fire stations receiving work will be the west side, 180 Main Street. It was built in 1900. The east side, 176 Robson Street, was built in 1904. The south side, 259 Conklin Ave, built in 1929. And the north side, 39 West State Street, built in 1960.
Okay. Any questions or comments for Chief Gardner on RL 22-169? Councilwoman Friedman, go ahead.
President Strawn. Hi, Chief. How are you?
Just one moment.
Councilwoman, how are you?
Just one moment. Councilman Burns has joined our meeting. Just wanted to make a note of that. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. My question for you is why you are seeking to use this funding source for these improvements.
I didn't actually seek this funding source. It was offered to me by the administration. Apparently the funds were available, and these upgrades have been needed for quite some time. I mean, the bones of the structures are good. It's just that they're very old structures and they haven't been updated. And as you know, they're occupied by the firefighters 24/7, 365 days a year. And this is essentially why we're seeking this funding.
Okay. I'm thinking back to the 7 principle or guidelines for the ARPA funding. And maybe I'm forgetting a bullet point. And to be clear, I'm not saying that I don't agree that these upgrades are necessary. I'm just a little bit confused about how this specifically is an appropriate budget line or funding source. That's the only thing.
Okay.
Unless, I
Okay.
don't know, question to the room. Is there like a bullet point about ARPA funds being used for capital improvements to fire station? I don't know.
I think we could reach out to the mayor's office. I'll reach out to Megan tomorrow and see if she can get us some information on that.
Okay, yeah.
that'd be Chief, I'll copy you on the email as well, just so you're in the loop.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate that.
Again, just to reiterate, I'm not against these improvements. I'm just trying to understand the connection between them and ARPA. That's my question. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Just a point of order. I see Councilwoman Riley has joined us.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, you do see Councilwoman Riley.
Good to see you. All right, great. We're still on the first one, RL 22-169. Any other questions or comments for Chief Gardner? I made a note a second ago. We will be reaching out to the mayor's office for a little clarification on the funding source for this these fire station upgrades, just to make sure we're all clear. I'll add Mr. Shager on that email as well, as he might have that as well. So any other questions or comments for Chief Gardner on RL 22-169? Okay, thanks, Chief.
All right, good evening.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Yep, have a good night. I see Bernice out there. I'm assuming you're gonna take the next one, Bernice?
Yes.
Okay, so we have RL 22-165. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we are looking to purchase some vehicles for DPW. This includes 2 garbage trucks, an 8-ton dump truck / plow, and a CV515 plow truck. We're purchasing 3 from local vendors, from the stadium, from Mack, and from Tracy Road. We went out for bid on these and got the lowest price.
Okay, questions or comments for Bernice on RL 22-165? Councilwoman Riley, go ahead.
Thank you, Council President. Hello, Ms. Griffiths. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So now with the current stock, the current vehicles we have on hand, are we planning to retire those, or will we just?
So what we're doing is looking to replace some older vehicles that we have. They got a lot of miles and they're running into a lot of mechanical issues and repair needs. So we want to take these new vehicles and send some of our old ones to auction so we can have some updated trucks.
So we will be generating revenue for the sale of those trucks. So ultimately.
Correct. Yep, through the auction.
Perfect. And do we, is there an estimate in terms of our rate of return? Do you think we'll reap the amount or an amount equal to the cost we're expending for this purchase?
No, because the trucks that we sent to auction are usually, they're the older vehicles. They got a lot of miles on them. So we will get some money back for them, but it's not anywhere near what it would be to purchase a brand new vehicle.
Okay. And typically in the past, we used to lease vehicles, correct?
Not since I've been here. We haven't leased any vehicles. We've purchased them outright.
Okay.
For DPW at least.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, no problem.
Bernice, it's Sophia. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Sophia.
Hi. Did you say it's a total of, can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Did you say it's a total of 3 new vehicles?
No, there's 4 new vehicles total.
There's 4.
We're purchasing them from 3 different local vendors here.
I see. Oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Other questions or comments for Bernice? Go ahead, Councilwoman Riley.
And just to clarify, we are purchasing brand new 0-mile vehicles.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions or comments on RL 22-165? Okay, thank you, Bernice. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a good night.
You too. Thanks.
Okay, we have RL 22, 162, and 163. And our corporate counsel Sharon is going to present these for Dr. Burling. Go ahead.
Thank you, counsel, and thank you for your time. I believe Dr. Burling is available for questions. If you have any, this also concerns an increase to her salary and her standard workday. It would be inappropriate for her to present on herself. City is seeking to amend City Charter Provision 124-39. That is the standard workday. If you recall, this is the provision of the code that sets out the positions that are subject to an 8-hour workday. That is a 40-hour work week or 80-hour per pay period, as opposed to a 7-hour workday or a 70-hour per pay period. These two positions are the Director of Planning, Housing, Community Development, and the Assistant Director of Planning, Housing, and Community Development, to add both of those positions to the 8-hour workday list in the city charter. Council's free to ask questions about that. I'm happy to take them, but they do relate to the following RL. That's 2022, or I should say 22-163. Does anyone have any questions yet? Okay. The primary reason why these positions are being changed from 8 to 8 hours from 7 hours is generally to reflect the changing nature of public sector managerial work here at the city. These two managers are expected to work above and beyond the 9 to 5 shift, which includes at least 3 meetings per month plus special meetings. They've taken on additional responsibilities, as well as engaged in coverage of lower level support staff positions and analogous positions up through the ranks. They've increased the grant work typically associated with these positions. Back in the day, we used to have a full-time grants administrator who not only does what Steve Carson does now with CDBG, but also several other grants. That grant work includes DASNY and ARC. In addition, the department used to have several more members and is working at a changed structure, although successfully, but the 8-hour schedule better reflects the work that these two positions actually perform, as well as our administration's expectations of them. I'm happy to field any questions.
Councilwoman Freeman, go ahead.
You, President Strawn. I'm wondering why it's written here effective June 25th, 2022. I assume that's why it's expedited, but I'm wondering why it's effective before we've voted on it, presumably.
To be expedited, that would be a date after your regular business meeting on Wednesday.
I see. So this is pending the approval. It will be effective June 25th.
Correct. Pending council's approval of it being expedited, it would be effective June 25th.
Gotcha. Okay, thanks.
Of course.
Any other questions or comments for Sharon on 22-162 or 22-163? Okay, one more. 22-164.
The next RL, it's my privilege to present to you tonight, relates to amending the planning and zoning budget to fund a clerk part-time position in the Department of Planning. The city secured an excellent candidate to serve as a planner who is finishing out a master's program and a final, essentially a final paper. In order to transition him into the hiring of this position, he's able to work part-time through September, about the middle of September. This would enable him to serve in that department. We do not have a part-time planner position. Clerk position, her duty, the tune of about half a day, less than 20 hours a week, at a lesser rate of pay than the planner position, which is a boon to the city for his experience, at a rate of pay of $20 per hour.
Okay, Any questions or comments on RL 22-164?
The funding is coming from the planner position directly and therefore is cost neutral to the city.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. We will move on. I see Billy on the screen, so we will go to RL 22-166 and 22-167. And Mr. Crum is down here. Are you doing this as well, or? Okay, good enough. Mr. Crum has joined us at the table, at the big table here. Billy, go ahead with those two RLs if you'd like.
Good evening, council members. In reference to RL 166, we're requesting an increase to the equipment and capital outlay for the CN bath line of $300,000. This is in preparation for additional funds that'll be needed for equipment as we continue the work on the CN building as a result of the catastrophic failure that occurred in February. We are currently getting low on the funds in that line. And since this is an emergency recovery, we want to make sure that we have the funds available should anything else come up as we go along. It'll be offset by an increase to the insurance recovery revenue line of $300,000. Are there any questions?
Councilwoman Riley, go ahead. I'm sorry, Councilwoman Friedman. I'm looking around. I've got my head on a swivel, looking all different.
It's not the
directions
first time that's happened.
here. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. Hi, Billy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you. So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly, that this is the intention of this is as a preventative in like rather than it's proactive rather than reactive. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So that if like, you know, knock on wood, I hope this doesn't happen, but if there were another catastrophe or if this equipment were to fail again, the replacement or the repairs would be presumably more than $300,000. Is that correct?
Since this is an unusual event and we are recovering, we can't foresee things that may come up in the future. Work is progressing quite quickly, and for now we have encumbered all the funds for the contracts that are in place, but we don't know if anything is going to occur related to the recovery in the future. And as these contractors continue to work, they let us know that if additional work needs to be done, and we have to work quickly. So we're just making sure that there are funds there to move forward with the contracts.
Okay.
I hope I explained that clearly enough.
Yes. Yeah, I think I understand. Yes. Thank you for that explanation.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? Ed, do you want to interject? Do you have anything to add? I can't hear anything if he's.
Would want to add here our DEC. They're very interested in progressing this recovery as soon as possible in line with the Chesapeake Bay requirements that are overseen by the EPA.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay. Go on to 22-167. Okay. I guess Sharon is going to present 22-167.
No, that's mine. That's joint sewer.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is a request for an increase to equipment, the equipment line of $67,000 by decreasing the personal services line. This is equipment that was damaged during the CN event. It's still running, but it's not at the full capacity. We're requesting to purchase a new backwash spray pump so that when we do finally fire up the CN cells, we can be at full capacity. In my haste to get this RL in, I neglected to request that this be expedited. I apologize if I'm out of line by asking this, but there's a 12-week lead time on these pumps. So if it is possible to expedite this, it would be greatly appreciated. If you can't, it's understood. Like I said, the pump is still running, but we don't know how long it will run after we fire it up. Are there any questions?
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Given the deadline nature of this important part, I would support expediting it.
Thank you.
We'll take that under consideration. I have to check with the clerk's office. We're shorthanded and the meeting is tomorrow night, so I'm not 100% sure we can get that done, but if we can, we will.
I appreciate any help you can give.
Also, if I can add, when is our special business meeting? Would that be before our
No,
next
that's
regular?
not till like July 11th.
July.
Never mind. Yeah, okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments on RL 22-167? Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Okay. We have RL 22-168 and Sharon is going to present that for Mr. McGinnis.
Pat McGinnis couldn't be with us tonight, but it's my pleasure to present to council RL 22-168, which authorizes the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Upper Susquehanna Coalition, otherwise known as USC, for a wetland improvement project at a very special site that is Sandy Beach Park. USC contacted us and they received funding to establish wetland areas that preserve and build the wetland area along the nature walk at Sandy Beach, which for those of you who are unfamiliar is off Conklin Ave by SB. Essentially, we've worked with USC before for tree plantings and tributaries along the south and west side, as some of you may be familiar. In this particular project, they go off of the trail and dig out low areas so that water will stay in. This assists with reducing flooding and flood mitigation efforts, and also increases animals and insects, I'm told, such as birds and other insects, which are great species and can enhance our pollinator gardens already in the area. Right now, the park, I should say, the area serves as a nature trail and educational facility and is of no cost to the city at present. Although after they do dig out, we go back in and we do plantings in those areas as well in the marshlands. I'm happy to take any questions that I may have familiarity with, and anything else I can refer you to Pat McGinnis after the fact.
Any other questions on RL 22-168? Okay, thank you. I see Mr. Kruger out there. Go ahead and tell us about RL 22-170.
Good evening, members of council. Can everyone hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, great. This is a proposal to enter into an agreement with Ramboll Engineering to look at our generator systems at the water filtration plant. During that last snow event, we were without power for 4 days. The existing generator systems were not designed for prolonged use like that. We had a bunch of standby generators shipped in for the time, but we were able to make it through. But it was getting close at the end of 4 days. In the first few hours after losing power, we had several pieces of equipment fail. And it was awfully quiet at the plant for about 3.5 hours. That's not a good place. I don't like it to be quiet at the plant. I always like to hear a motor humming. This showed us that there's huge room for improvement with our emergency backup power. With engineering, we've done a vetting process. We had 5 original bids. We knocked it down to 2 for personal interviews. Out of those 2, Ramboll Energy, formerly known as O'Brien and Gear, they had a fantastic proposal, which just about left me speechless, which is saying something because I seldom shut up. They're on the money with their plan. It will eliminate a bunch of redundant equipment and make the transfer to generator power in an emergency at least 100 times more effective and less labor intensive than it has ever been. That's truly why we have selected Ramboll to be the company we would like to do business with.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Kruger on RL 22-170? Jeff, how close were we in that 4 days to having, like, what at the end? Is it the water? What happens at that point? I mean, besides the water just not being treated, being filtered, being pumped. I mean, how close were we to something really happening?
Main pumping was limited to 1 pump. The motor itself has been questionable for a while. So that's nerve-wracking to begin with. We would have been unable to backwash any filters, which would have stopped our ability to produce water. The Broome County Emergency Services had several generators shipped over, so we were safe in that regard. But if they hadn't shipped over generators capable of being hooked up, and they had continued more than the 4 days, it would have been a place we don't want to be. The plant would have been silent, and that's not something I like to have to report to the mayor. It was a tough phone call to tell him when it was silent for 3.5 hours.
Okay. Well, obviously we don't want that to happen, and thankful that Broome County and the plant worked together on that to take care of that. But obviously there again, any other questions or comments for Jeff on RL 22-170? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we move on to 22-171. Sarah Close. Oh, there
Yes,
you are.
I am. Hi. Hi, so this is an RL authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Visit Bing and the Greater Binghamton Chamber of Commerce to support marketing, arts, travel, tourism, hospitality, and events in Binghamton. Essentially, these funds, which were authorized in 2021, will be used by Visit Bing to support marketing efforts of various events in the city, such as Luma being the largest. Any questions?
Any questions for Sarah on 22-171? Go ahead, Councilman Burns.
Speaking of Luma and promoting downtown, I don't know whose that is, but yeah. So Joshua B, when he was very much a part of the beginnings of the restaurant weeks. All right, and they've been very successful. And he had done a little film. It's like 1.5 minutes or something for his website and his social media, promoting it. But while he was doing it, he was promoting all the restaurants that were involved, and it was very effective and very professionally done. And I would love to see something like that. Have us spend some money promoting, downtown Binghamton. And anyway, that's my 2 cents on that, but I hope that that's part of what we're looking at. Thanks.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Riley, go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Sarah. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. So refresh our memories. What exactly does this marketing packet include? I know Mr. Burns brought up an idea, but are videos included? What is the target audience? What is the focus of this marketing strategy? Let us know what we're expecting.
Yeah, so we're deferring to Visit Bing on a lot of the details as they are the expert in tourism promotion management, but they're going to be tailoring it to each event and organization specifically. So an organization that has more capacity to do their own marketing might just get some support, both financially and in kind for that. Whereas smaller organizations and events that don't necessarily have staff or capacity to develop their own materials, Visit Bing can do that on behalf of them. But we're really deferring to their expertise as the tourism promotion agency for this area.
So based upon the amount we're allocating, though, we should have some type of proposal as to how much is allocated towards which businesses and right? So a larger business may receive so much promotion. I mean, we don't have anything outlined at that level of detail.
I don't have anything to share at this time. I do know that in our conversations with them, we've talked about supporting larger events with larger financial contributions. So as I mentioned, I know Luma has been mentioned as the one we would like to support with the largest financial dollars, but really we haven't defined all of the exact details, but that it will be proportionate to the size and impact of the event on our community.
But what if there's an event that we hold dear and true? So for example, the culture parade for them at the Civic Association. Where's the list of events and the list of businesses we are going to, again, support through these resources so that we can advocate or provide feedback?
Yeah, I hope this is appropriate, but I think I would have to defer to the mayor's office on this as they're the ones signing the contract. But certainly we can speak with them and try to get more details.
That would be great. Even Council President, I don't recall this RL. I know it was not too long ago, but if we can have more details, that would be great.
Okay, yeah, we'll reach out and this one's not expedited either. So we have a little bit of time, but we'll reach out to the mayor's office. We'll copy Sarah on that and try to and get some additional information on that.
That would be great. Again, remember the Rumble Ponies came and gave us a great presentation. They wanted our partnership. They wanted us to help increase visibility. But again, depending on there are a large revenue generating organization where there may be some events that don't have that backing, and we should make sure we're allocating these resources equitably.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
Councilwoman Freeman, I saw you with your, go ahead.
I may have answered my own question in my head, but I like to ask for clarification for myself and also maybe other people who are watching who may be having similar questions to me. So there's a note here that the funding was approved November 3rd, 2021. And I apologize for not looking this up myself, but the funding that was approved in November was just a lump sum. And then this RL is specifically asking us to enter into an agreement with the Chamber of Commerce / Visit Bing to then use that money. Am I understanding that correctly?
That is my understanding. I was not here in 2021, so I can't speak to the details of that RL specifically, but that is my understanding of how this is working, yes.
Okay, and I can probably find that information out on my own as well. I didn't have the foresight to do that before this meeting, but thank you anyway. Appreciate it.
No problem, thanks.
Okay, anything else on 22-171? Okay, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. Steve, you're gonna come down here? Steve's here. We just rousted him up in the upper deck up there to come down. No, you're fine. All right, Steve Carson is joining us here at the in the chambers at the table. All right, Steve, 22, tell us about 22-172. I don't know, is it green?
Now is it on?
Can you hear him? Okay.
So this goes back to the second round of COVID CDBG funding that we got, which we sometimes refer to as CDBG CV 46. We had already allocated $150,000 for nonprofit assistance. I think the original goal was to reach out to nonprofit agencies that still needed assistance, keeping their head above water, which was the point of the COVID funds, was to deal with COVID in some manner. And we spent several years dealing with COVID using CDBG and ESG funds. But as sort of time has progressed, we've realized it's gotten to the point where we can't really help agencies anymore. Agencies have recovered. They have gotten back into their patterns of fund collections and stuff like that. So one alternative way of helping nonprofit agencies with COVID is to help them with things such as capital projects, and an HVAC improvement is one way we're doing that. Now, we've already obligated $30,000 to the YMCA for a similar HVAC, but similar but smaller HVAC upgrade for their system at the men's shelter. But now the ACA itself is looking at a complete redoing of their HVAC system. We do not have a scope for it yet, but I have talked to their engineer and designer and said it has to deal with COVID in some way. That may include UV lights. It may include specific materials. It may include additional micro filters, something like that. But it will have a COVID application to it. And at the same time, it allows them to upgrade a very dated HVAC system that they have there to make it more energy efficient and just help out overall. So that's what this RL is for. The money, $150,000, has already been obligated for CDBG COVID assistance to nonprofits, and this is just one idea we have for it.
Okay, it sounds like a great use of the funds. Any questions or comments, other ones for Mr. Carson on RL 22-172? Councilwoman Riley, go ahead.
Thank you, Council President. Hello there, Steve.
Hi.
Hi. I too agree that this is a great use of those funds, but can you please clarify for those that may be in the audience and my fellow colleagues on the council, how much money is remaining in this pot that can be allocated to our nonprofits? Is this it?
For 46, this would use up all of the 46 nonprofit allocation. For the older 45 money, there is still some funding left in there. I do not have the number off the top of my head, but I believe it's somewhat less than 100,000. I'm going to guess it's probably about 70,000 left.
Okay. And is there a process, again, looking at equitable access, whereby the nonprofits know about this change in our assessment or evaluation for use of these funds so that everyone is eligible to submit a request at this time?
Well, we did have requests a couple of years ago. We only got a certain number of applications. I believe we opened up once or twice. I'm more familiar with the for-profit business assistance, which was in a similar vein, where we kept opening it up for applications, and by the end of it, there was almost no one applying. Mm-hmm. At this point, it would be difficult to find a nonprofit agency that would qualify under the COVID requirements. The original assistance was for agencies pretty much dealt with things such as rent. It dealt with utility expenses, things of that nature. But they had to directly correspond to a loss in their funding due to COVID. So there had to be a direct tie back to that. A lot of nonprofits have bounced back to their original situation. They may be in a situation where they're not getting as much funds from their fundraising, but they've definitely recorded to the $0 fundraising they were having during COVID. So I do not know if the mayor's office, and it would be up to the mayor's office to make a determination as if they wanted to open up an application process again for nonprofits for COVID assistance. I'm not opposed to that at all, but it would be the mayor's call on that.
Okay, so how did we obtain this request? Again, I'm in full support of the ACA, but if we don't have an open process, how did we obtain this request?
I'm not sure that would be something that you would have to discuss with the mayor's office. I don't have that answer.
Okay, so you do understand why I'm asking this. We have nonprofits that reach out to us individually and collectively with questions as to how to receive support. And if our process changes, I just want to make sure we're giving them the most up-to-date information. And so moving forward, then we should advise them, I'm paraphrasing, we should advise them to call Jared directly.
That would be up to the agencies. I do not know what the mayor's office is looking at. I don't know how that money or the funding request came about from the ACA. I wasn't involved with that.
Okay, thank you so much.
I can combine that with my request from the mayor's office for the previous RL on the tourism monies.
That would be great, because again, I'm sure you're getting emails too, Phil. And if we're going back to fiscal year CDBG Fund 45, I'm sure people can go back in their profit and loss documents to do whatever they need to do to deem their project fundable.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions or comments for Steve on RL 22-172? Okay. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Hey, Steve, I just want, while you're here, so we have the 30 days, we have the public hearing tomorrow night, we have the 30-day that we keep it open.
Correct.
So, and then
switch to a new thing.
I just want to make sure we're looking at a special meeting on July 11th or 12th. Those 2 dates would work.
Yes,
Just thought I'd ask since you're right here.
Yeah. So
Okay.
22nd tomorrow will be the public hearing in the middle of the action plan being available for review, the draft plan being available for review. That meets our CPP requirements on that. And then it's 30 days from the initial press release to the time where it cuts off. That cutoff point, I believe, is the 11th of July, or maybe it's the 10th. It's the Sunday before that.
So that's the Sunday, that's the 10th.
So assuming, and I always like to give a little bit extra time. So if we give everybody until 4:00 p.m. on Monday to submit any additional comments, I have not received any yet so far. I do encourage people to submit comments.
So it could be that evening after 4 o'clock.
It could,
or should it be
that
should it be the
evening, but
12th?
I can work with you guys anytime during that week is fine. We just have to be able to submit the final by the 15th.
Okay. Since most of us are here, does anybody have any preference to do this special meeting on July 11th or 12th to have the full 30-day period, open period for the public hearing, and then pass that, consider that in a special meeting on the 11th or 12th? Any preference on those 2 dates?
Mr. President, what time are we looking to start with that? On either day. forgive me.
We probably look to do maybe a little like we did with the MPA meeting, maybe 5:15 or 5:30.
Okay, because both of those days I teach, so I wouldn't be able to get here until at least 6.
Okay.
Just for but the 11th or 12th for me is fine.
Okay. Any other?
I do have a
preferences?
conflict similar to Giovanni on the 12th at 5 o'clock. So if we move to 6, then that may be possible, but I would prefer.
So it sounds like 6 o'clock on the 11th then would be better for you.
Absolutely.
So let's let Janine, can you make a note of that? Let's plan on, and Steve's here too, 6 o'clock on July 11th.
The Monday.
I would like to attend just because I'd like to get
Absolutely.
some comments.
So so I know that wasn't on our agenda, but I've been thinking about it, and since you were right here and
It's a good idea.
most of us are here, we might as well.
I do have one additional request. If any council members receive comments from the public and you feel comfortable, send them to me. If you're worried about anonymity, you can just say someone from the public had this comment. I would like to add it to the action plan. We're supposed to add any public comments into it. So I would appreciate that.
Go ahead, Councilman Riley.
Now, where is this posted right now for the public's consumption and review?
Yes, there's a physical copy available in the planning office, at the clerk's desk, and at the public library, as well as a digital copy that is available on the city website.
And under what page? So is it on the landing page? Is it?
It was the link itself was placed into the ad that went there. You should be able to just go to my office, but I haven't seen, I always follow the link, so I haven't dug through the city website to find it per se. But it's definitely on the public hearing notice, should have had it.
And also,
And I can send a digital copy out to anyone who requests one as well.
this is maybe a little convoluted, but I believe that a copy of it was also included in our work session packet for last work session.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Because I think I posted about it. It was like on page 25, I think.
Was it just the summary of the amounts, or was it the full-on 30-page document?
I believe it was the 30-page
okay.
document that was in there.
I just want to make sure it's accessible for the public. And if it is at the library and things, is that also on the page for people that may want to go and physically turn the pages? Is that posted somewhere for the public to recognize that it is available?
It's under our CPP. I don't think the legal ad mentioned that it was it mentions it's at the library, but it is on our CPP.
Now, what is CPP?
That's our citizen participation plan, which we are in the process of updating anyway. So if we're seeing any errors or issues, I can fix those now before we submit a copy to HUD and then open it up for public review. Okay. You can't find the action plan? Oh, okay.
I think because I remember making a post about it on my city council Facebook page. That's why I think that it's available there.
I also sent it to the 100 plus contacts on my listserv, which may include some of the city council members, which included the announcement as well as a link to the page itself.
Steve, can I make a request that you send it to city council, that if we're not on your mailing list, because I don't remember receiving it.
Okay, yeah, I can add city council to my my listserv. That's not a problem.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's the HUD 48 annual action plan draft.
Yeah, it is on page 25.
Yeah, it's right here. I have it.
Yeah, the
It
work
was in our
session
packet,
packet from June.
Page 25 to 58.
Right, but the public typically doesn't download that
or 6
and turn to page 25. I think we should make it as easy as possible for the public's review.
Absolutely agree. I just wanted to point out that it is available there as well. But I definitely agree. Most people are not devoted enough to flip through a document that's 62 pages long.
Oh, 60 pages, sorry.
Well, the whole packet is 60
okay.
pages. The actual action plan is something like maybe 30 pages, something like that. Or 20 pages.
Okay, so that was a good discussion. We will go with July 11th at 6 o'clock. We will have we'll have the public hearing tomorrow night, the formal public comment, public hearing, and then that'll remain open. So we won't close it. And then do we formally close it at the beginning of the special meeting, or does that just kind of end after the 30 days? Okay.
Typically what council will want to do is enable the public comment period for as long as possible. So as council has now enabled public comment at the special meeting, you can continue that public comment at the special meeting and close it that evening.
Okay.
And I will provide public comments that I receive in the meantime to city council before the final vote.
Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Appreciate it.
And for the purposes of the record, just to be clear, and thank you to Councilmember Friedman and President Strawn. If you go to the work session, Monday, June 6th, 2022, it's at pages 25 through 58 of the work session packet. It was presented by Megan Hyman.
Okay, thank you. Anything noteworthy, Janine, on the pending legislation that we will be looking at tomorrow night?
Nope, it looks like we just have the 8 items plus the 4 that were expedited tonight.
Okay, anybody have anything else for the good of the order?
Just one comment with regards to the request by Ms. Goodson on behalf of the Joint Sewage Board to expedite the legislation this evening. Unfortunately, due to Maine law requirements for that legislation, because they would have had to be posted prior to 6 p.m. tonight. So unless the business meeting was starting, I should say, because that legislation cannot possibly be drafted in time to meet that 24-hour requirement, I don't believe we're capable of expediting that. I'm happy to take any questions on that, however.
We had just, too, a special notice went out to all the departments last week because we knew that we were going to be shorthanded on top of having back-to-back. So we have a double issue here. We have back-to-back meetings and we are shorthanded as Mr. Rogers is taking care of some serious family issues this week. So we just don't have the capacity to do that. And she said the equipment was still working. So, but proper notice was sent out to make sure that if anything needed to happen, it was extra important this time that it get in on time.
Mr. President?
Yeah.
Forgive me, if memory serves me correctly, didn't Billy kind of mention that there's a deadline issue here with respect to how long it would take to submit an order and then actually get a motor? Because that sounds like a really big deal. I'm not normally I think these things should be used. I think everybody understands. So we're in this particular situation due to the fact that we don't have a Tuesday with the 24-hour notice in advance, because obviously we didn't have a meeting yesterday. If this legislation can be drafted, I'm going to formally request that we make a special business meeting for this on Thursday, the 23rd in the evening, which shouldn't take that long because this is a pretty big deal. Even if it's the 24th, but I think this is something that we need to consider. This is probably not something deadline related that we want to wait around 2 weeks for. That's just my own personal opinion. But
I agree with Councilman Scaringi. This is Councilwoman Riley.
Okay, I'll reach out to them tomorrow and get a little bit more information, but we'll have to have a special meeting. It is not going to go on the agenda tomorrow night.
Right.
What's that? No, I'll reach out tomorrow, and if we schedule it by sometime before tomorrow afternoon, right? Okay, I'll reach out to them in the morning and then we'll go from there.
Well, Mr. President, if I may, we've got 5 of us here. I mean, wouldn't it be just easier to take 30 seconds and nail down a time now? I mean, we can always rescind it. You know what I mean? I think it's just.
This is Sharon. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Councilman. You can't hear what I was saying, but I said we will have a better sense as of tomorrow afternoon when you guys vote to schedule the special meeting of whether or not we can draft it for
the RL itself. Okay.
Yeah, for the resolution itself, for either the end of the day. If we can get to it by tomorrow afternoon, then we can go ahead and set it for Thursday because we'll be able to post. Otherwise, it would have to be Friday or the following Monday. So I just asked if he could give me essentially a little less than a business day tomorrow morning to figure out our timeline for drafting the resolutions, because it does involve a joint sewage board. As you can see, the mayor, comptroller, and the corporation council are not signatories on that RL. I may need to get additional information in order to actually draft the resolutions at hand.
No, I understand, Sharon. That's a lot, and I appreciate your sense of urgency on that. That makes total
Sure,
sense.
no problem. Thank you for your patience. I should be able to get back to council by noon tomorrow.
No worries. Thank you, Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'm wondering if it might be easier and more efficient for us to just shoot for Friday or Monday and like maybe we could just see if like take a straw poll and see if everyone's available on Monday, because I think, would you say you're fairly confident that that legislation would be ready by Monday? I think Thursday is a little, right, Thursday's iffy, and I totally get that. Friday also might even be a little bit iffy, but if we shoot for Monday, that'll still be a week and a half sooner than our next business meeting, with enough lead time to ensure that the legislation is ready. Or you think, no, that it's still iffy for Monday?
I defer to council. It's absolutely council's discretion when to schedule a special meeting, whether or not it wants to do so tonight or whether or not it wants to do so at the next scheduled business meeting, which is tomorrow. Can't speak for the underlying information that needs to go into the resolution. Fully answer your question for the timing, but I defer to council on the scheduling of the meeting.
Let's schedule it tomorrow night. If the information's to us, if we did it on Monday, what time would people be available? So we can happen really fast tomorrow night if we get the proper information. Can we do it at 5:15 or 5:30?
Anytime after 5 works for
Would that
me.
be okay with you, Joe? Okay, so we will not formally schedule now, but we will tentatively say if corporate counsel and the clerk's office gets the information they need and can be assured that that they have the proper information, then tentatively we would say right, Monday the 27th at 5:15 we would do a special meeting. Okay. Okay. A motion to adjourn?
No moved.
All right.
Second.